Are you ready to transform your space into a masterpiece? Introducing Mosaics, your destination for stones and more. Mosaics is a family-owned business serving the community for over 20 years. With the best quality porcelain, ceramic tiles, and high-end mosaics featuring unique modern designs, Mosaics has everything you need. Dedicated customer service, wholesale distributors, and a passion for excellence. Make sure you visit mosaics.com today to turn your vision into a reality.
We are here live after a disaster, complete disaster of a game. I'm like speechless.
Gian, I'm going to let you cook. I know you have a lot to say.
No, I do have a lot to say. I have a lot to say. But first, I want to be polite and say, how are you, Ashley?
Good. It's disappointed like everybody, but I'm doing good. I went to my Spanish class before the game, which was great. I'm taking Spanish twice a week, so maybe by next year I can be fluent and communicate with our global audience more. But besides that, so it goes. How about you?
I was doing good until about 8:30.
8:37.
Yeah. 8:37. Yeah, but yeah. Man, I just don't know what to say about this team. I don't know. And I want to be positive. I try to stand behind them and try to look for, positive things. But it's games like tonight that it just makes me wonder if Messi isn't around, do we actually have a team? Because I'm looking at our record without Messi. I was looking back at the games that we had without Messi, which was Chicago, New York City, Houston, Orlando, Toronto, Atlanta, Sporting KC, and we're struggling in most of those games.
Behind you.
What?
Looks like a club behind you. I'm sorry. Keep going.
That thing is on its own. I don't know. I tried to program. That thing has a mind of its own. But
I'm sorry. Keep going.
No, yeah, but I would say we struggle without Messi. We had a couple of games there without Messi that we were able to do well, but most of them we struggled. And tonight, it's what is going on with this team? I don't, every night we talk about, is it fatigue? Is it effort? Is it that maybe they don't care so much about the playoffs anymore? I don't know what the excuse is, because every night we find excuses. I think we can only use fatigue so much, because to me tonight, it wasn't about fatigue. And the reason I say that is because they didn't look tired. I feel like the effort in running, the effort in trying to defend, the effort, which speaks to fatigue, was there. To me, it was just everybody is off their game. If Messi's not around, they don't have the confidence that they do when Messi's not around. It's like they drop they drop 4 or 5 levels when Messi's not around. They're half the players, half of what they can actually play when Messi's around or when Alva's around. And look, here's something we haven't mentioned much. To me, it's part is on the players, right? When you see Kremaski miss a goal like that, when you see Farias miss opportunities and play just horrendous. Okay, those are things that the coach can't do anything about. Those are you as a professional, you make those, you score those goals. But I'm sorry, the tactics aren't there. I mean, as a coach, you got to put these players in positions to excel, and they're just not there. Nothing. Messi's not around. Somebody has to be creative, which in theory it should have been Farias, because how many times have we heard Tata say, Farias is the closest thing we have to Messi. He's the one with the closest skill set to Messi, but he doesn't do anything. And then there's just nothing from a coaching perspective. There's no creativity at all, in my opinion. You don't have anything going on. It's just lateral stuff, lateral from one side of the field to the other side of the field to the other side of the field, with no verticality. There's no playmaking. There's nothing creative going on. And that's on the coach. They're so stagnant. They don't do anything. They have 60-something possession and they don't do anything with it, which is really frustrating to me. I'm looking at this team and I'm not a coach and I'm already seeing opportunities to fix the game. you see Farias on the left-hand side and Noah. Not how many times did we see them actually associate themselves with each other and do something on that wing where Noah comes up, touches the ball to Farias, then overlaps, and then Farias plays the ball back, and then maybe Farias makes a run to the middle, and Noah centers it back. Like, we didn't see any of that. Same thing with Yedlin and Taylor on the right. We didn't see them associate themselves in the least bit. If Joseph is at least at the beginning, he had 2 good plays at the end, so I have to give it up to him for that. But for most of that game, he wasn't. Yeah, but he wasn't doing much at the beginning. And what I think is, for Joseph to excel again, other than those 2 really good plays that he did, which, man, props to him, he did great there. Joseph is a guy that you need to get him involved and get him in stride. Place the ball with him running where he's going to have an opportunity to kick the ball. And that's tactics. That's Joseph that's telling the team, get the ball to Joseph in the open space, have Joseph make the run so that he can kick. That's where he excels the most. They didn't get him those opportunities. Or ask Joseph, play the false 9, play a little back, confuse the defense. When you push more into the midfield, have Farias come in and play the space that you just left behind you, and then have Kremaski or somebody play the ball into you. Like, all of that stuff to me is missing, the creativity. You can't depend on Messi every single game for him to create everything. When he's not there, people got to step up, and you have to play your tactics for a Messi-less team, and it just didn't happen. I mean, there's more, but I don't want to talk for an hour. Obviously, I know that you probably have a lot to get off your chest as well.
I saw a couple comments saying, "Ready for an all-time meltdown from Ali." Well, I'm past the meltdown point. Like, when you're so mad or whatever that you like calm. That's where I'm at. But a couple things. Without getting into too much of a debate about, biases and nationalities and all those things, because I really don't want to. If Facundo Farias wasn't this young hotshot of Argentina, do you think he'd be playing 90 minutes of every game of the last 10 since his performance has dropped?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I know that thing's highly of him.
He's had spurts of great play. But with how many tired legs that we have and the need to rotate, is there a defined reason he's getting to play 90 minutes when he seemed to, over the last 4 to 5 games, has had a severe drop off? That's number one. Number two, with this, let's say for the Leagues Cup, with the exact same players, how different do you think Phil Neville would have done?
Mm-hmm.
It's a rhetorical question. Because I haven't seen something so phenomenal out of Tata Martino in terms of rotation tactics. Besides, it's kind of like that meme where, and this is an American football reference, but it's like, what is it? Like, just throw it up. Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase is somewhere. Throw it up. Jamar's somewhere down there and he'll get it from the Bengals, right? Like, that's like what it is that they've had to do with Messi, which is just put Messi on it. It'll make do. And then I don't see a future for DeAndre Yedlin next season, which is a shame because I think he's a really great guy and great for the community. But I imagine that the plan for my moving forward is going to be a back 4, and Jordi Alba is going to be your left back as long as injuries are not an issue. And DeAndre Yedlin just won't backtrack. He hasn't done it all season. He didn't really do it last season. And over the last few games, when you're playing a lot of young players, he's really been, in my opinion, disgraceful. He's been terrible. He has not tracked back at all. And 2 of tonight's goals were 100% because he didn't run back.
Exactly.
Just literally forget tactics or forget other people. We had some bad some bad giveaways in the midfield, but that happens sometimes in soccer. That's why you have defenders. 2 of the goals was literally because he just didn't run back or didn't run back fast enough. And if you're playing a back 4 and a high 9, that's your job. And so with the guarantee of Alba on the left and now Miller, who I deserve to be a center back on our team, to be completely fair. Not that he's, he's not the greatest of all time, but he's certainly, in my opinion, he does a very good job. He does what he's asked to do. With those two defenders and Ovilus guaranteed, I pretty much think they need a new right back who's going to run and who's going to be able to backtrack, because DeAndre Yedlin hasn't done it all season. And so, yeah, those are kind of my 5 points, right? Like, I think Farias, who is a good young talent and who we've said great things about, he's young and he's had a drop off, and Tata Martino has not taken him out when he really should have, or put him in positions where he can succeed more. And he's asking the young players to do the wrong things. He's expecting more out of others, and it's been really sad. And for an Inter Miami team that definitely has overachieved, but if you're going to double, triple, and quadruple the pricing of tickets for next season, the performance for these last 10 games or 8 games or whatever the case may be has been really, really disappointing as a club, and really something where you're going to have to see big changes in the roster moving forward in order to give the fans what they deserve, because it can't be Messi. He's 36 years old, 37 years old, and is the greatest player, but people are going to pay their hard-earned money and put their support behind a team where you have 11 other professionals on the pitch that you need to see perform.
Yeah, no, I agree. And there are people asking about Cremaschi in the comments, and I'll say this: Cremaschi was thrown into a role very early out of necessity. And I think he showed.
I think he had a better game. He had a much better game than he's had.
But no, I know. But I think that he showed a lot of promise from when he first started seeing a bigger role. But at the same time, you have to remember he's 18 years old, and I've seen him struggle as of recent. He's had some off games, but we haven't seen him have those great games that he has when Messi's around. There's a big, I think there's completely different. He's a completely different player, or when Messi's on the field and when he's not, and you have more experienced players. Like, I'm not saying don't play Cremaschi maybe at all, but at least you can have a game where you play him the entirety. There'll be games where maybe he plays the last 30 minutes in the second half, but you've got John Mota, who's experienced. You've got Stefanelli, who's experienced. Like, I think that Tata's failing in the rotations as well. Man, you're talking about fatigue, right? Like, and we're tired and we played so many games back to back, but why aren't you playing guys that are fresher, that are vets, that have played with this team and have shown that I think that they can hold their own? Again, like Mota and Stefanelli, they're available, but you're asking so much out of these young players that, okay, they can shine here and there, but I don't think that you can expect them to be consistently at the top of their game at such a young age. And I think that that's something that Tata fails in, is like, how many times actually have we talked about how deep this team is? Like, why are we seeing Cremaschi play? I had to step away the last 10 minutes of the game to set this up, so I'm not sure if he got subbed, but he's playing an incredible amount of minutes. Farias, why is Farias seeing all these minutes? Like you said earlier, like, switch people out, give them a chance to rest if fatigue or tired or whatever is an issue. Like, I think that sometimes Tata is so set in his ways that it sometimes is to a detriment of the team. But then
I saw a comment. This is funny. I know you like to give Manchester City comparisons. If they won the Carabao Cup but finished last, they overachieve. Fair enough.
No, so Mota and Stefanelli are also poor quality. Look, I'm not saying that
poor quality. I don't think, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I don't think they're poor quality. I think that they can serve their role and do well enough to merit time, especially when you have so many games back to back to back. I think that they're playable players that should have seen the field, instead of milking such a young player and expecting him to perform at an all-star level. And then when he doesn't perform at an all-star level, it's like, he sucks. Like, no, Cremassi doesn't suck. He does well. But
I think that. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say that I think that, and obviously I can't hear the press conference live or translate in real time, but if we hear again from Tata Martino that it's too many games and that the team is tired, why have you played the same 11, give or take 1 or 2 injuries, past 5 games without really any changes? If you are going to just keep complaining about the rest, I think that unless for injury reasons, there's no reason that John Mota did not start the game today when we clearly needed an offensive boost and we needed to have some more creativity. And again, I don't think Lasky had a bad game. I think especially compared to the last couple of games, he did play a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more composed. Royo had a pretty good game. And then, Robert Taylor, just his legs are out, or I don't know what it is, but he's run his race. And that's another opportunity where, why are you playing him when it's, it's not because he's a poor quality player. We've seen in many instances, and even before Messi came, I know a lot of people haven't seen, are new to Inter Miami, and not in a negative way. Like, I know we're getting more and more fans each game, but Robert Taylor had a lot of great moments before the Messi era where he showed a lot of brilliance. He's a good player. He really is. He's just been, I guess, overused, or maybe whatever the case may be. There's no reason why you shouldn't be playing Stefanelli or Robbie Robinson or any of these players, simply because you need to rotate. And, that's, if you need to rotate, you need to get some creativity and players to show their hunger. This is when you have to do it. And so it's been a real tactical failure. It's been I think, personnel failure. It's been tough to see, and
it's not like you're asking, like when you're rotating, like to your point, like if you're bringing in other players like Robbie Robinson, Stefanelli, Mota, it's not that you're saying that the others aren't going to see the pitch at all. They can come in the second half and rotate and get at least some time at rest, but it also helps.
You have to show your opposition different players. They've been the same players every single game.
Exactly. You think these teams aren't watching video and making sure that they're ready for these formations? You got to switch it up. Look, I see, for example, somebody's asking about Campana. Supposedly, Campana didn't play because he was injured. That's what came out on the injury report. So that's why he wasn't available. He didn't
travel. He went out of the last game.
Yeah, he didn't travel either. Harun says, bro, stop. In Europe, they have players at 16, 17, and 18 that play the game at the highest level. That's also Europe, bro. Like,
I was going to say, that's why they're in Europe and not playing for MLS. And I mean,
exactly.
Our league's getting better and better, no doubt. Our league's getting better and better. There is still a drop off in quality. There's another comment I saw that I wanted to touch on. Here it is. I've seen a lot of hate for Noah Allen. The kid is 19, and I know we keep saying the age thing. You're asking him to be Jordi Alba. He's not. He's doing the best he can, and tactically knowing that your only left-footed available player on the left side, then tactically you should be ready to overcompensate for it and have players behind. If he does get beat and he does this, I think he hasn't been great the last few games, but he hasn't been, I think, as bad, let's say, Yedlin, or as bad as other players who are much older and much more seasoned than him. There's a lot of just to point fingers. I'm going to say this.
No matter what, I don't think you can find any excuse for the misses that we saw.
Yeah.
Easy shots from Cremassi.
Also, that should have been a red card. That should have been a red card on their player. It was a deliberate, in my opinion, denying of a goal scoring opportunity. He made himself bigger, and he purposely tried to use his other parts of his body to deny a goal, and that's a red card.
Yeah.
So I don't even know how that wasn't even checked by VAR.
Yeah. I think that my biggest takeaway from tonight's game, other than turning the ball over, I think these are, I would say, I'm going to give a couple of my key takeaways. One of my key takeaways is Inter Miami has to do a better job at getting back on defense when turning the ball over. And one of the primary offenders of that is exactly who you brought up, DeAndre Yedlin. So that's one of my key takeaways. The other key takeaway is finding a way to be creative and to generate good plays when Messi isn't around. Because right now, if Messi isn't around, the team is too stagnant. Nobody's making runs. Nobody is able to take one or two players to open up the field. Like nobody's giving that type of individual effort at this. Sometimes we'll see a flash from Taylor, sometimes from Farias, but not often enough. I think Farias needs to step up, especially if Tata's giving him this opportunity where it seems like he's untouchable. He is the man when Messi's not around. So I think that Farias needs to step up to the plate and prove why it is that Tata has so much confidence in him and start playmaking. That's important. And the last one would be coaching. Tata's got to do better at coaching, from rotating players to the game planning and game scheming and finding ways to create offense. Because I just in case there are people that just came in, I said this at the beginning. How many times have we seen in prior games, especially when Alba's in or Messi are in, where again, the fullbacks, the left fullback or the right fullback will run up, touch the ball with the wing, overlap the wing, and make the run so that the wing passes the ball right back. And that opens up so many different, it could be a center, it could be a touch back to the right outside the 18. I mean, there's just a plethora of different plays that can come out of that. And I just saw nothing. Like I saw no plays. I was trying to see if there was something that I can point to. Okay, they're doing this on a consistent basis. This has got to be at the direction of Tata. And I saw nothing to me that pointed that there was anything that was pre-planned from Tata, because it was just stagnant, 60-something%
Speaking of,
without anything. Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to say, speaking of, say the number, and you tell me what the significance is. 27.
27?
Days since Leo Messi got injured or was taken off versus Ecuador. You know, for the first game or two, let's say versus Atlanta, you could understand that we had trouble figuring our way out of it because we just became a great flow with Messi. Over 1,000 minutes he played, right? For Inter Miami.
Yeah.
But maybe that's the first week. What changes have been made over the last 21 days, the last 3 weeks, the last 8 or 9 games to show that we've had any life in us? And the Toronto game just shows, by the way, how poor Toronto is to say that, you know, we blew them out of the water. 27 days since Messi's fatigue and whatever the hell it was versus Ecuador.
Yeah.
27 days. And we are still acting, this club is acting tactically in their press and in their personnel like he's still playing.
Yeah.
Don't have an excuse for it. Like first week, understandable. You made a real 180. Things changed drastically with him. What about the 20 days after it? This is a world-class coach, millions of dollars. These are many players. At least try new things, you know, at least try new things. And if they don't work, then sometimes things don't work. We see this a couple times in the past.
Do you think this is a competitive? Do you think this is a competitive team? Like honestly, like let's say when Messi isn't on the pitch, and let's say Alba isn't on the pitch, on paper, should this be a competitive team? Because I know I'll probably get some hate in the comments now, even though there are some people I see that are agreeing with it. I think it's a competitive team. I look at this team and I think I'm not saying they're going to compete with the top 3 teams in each conference. I'm not going to say they're a top team. But I think there should be way more competitive than they're showing, especially against teams at the bottom of the table, because that's what we've been struggling against these last few games without Messi. Yeah, there's been some top teams like Houston, right, or Orlando or Atlanta that are pretty good. But there have also been teams at the bottom of the table, like today, like New York City. I don't have the rest of them, but there's teams that we shouldn't. There's no excuse for us losing 4-1 to Chicago. Like this should be a much more competitive team. I don't know. Do you think it's a competitive team, or should be on paper?
should be. I mean, it should be. I think that, first of all, Busquets is still, in my opinion, better than, I don't know, 80% of the midfield in the MLS. Maybe that's a little bit of an exaggeration. I need to kind of like look to really give an answer, but at over 50%, Busquets is better than. Campana / Joseph Martinez, I still think is probably better than 50% in terms of your front player that's supposed to score goals. And I'm seeing in the comments, and that's why, by the way, why I keep looking down in the stream is because I'm reading the comments, so I can interact with it. But it's not all Tata's fault. For all we know, he's putting in tactics, and the players aren't executing it. But it's also not his fault. There's a mixture. It is your job as the coach to create a game plan that everyone should do. And let's just say that the players aren't doing the game plan, or the other team was, maybe they had a different game plan that now you have to try and counteract. You have time to change it, and you are seeing no changes being made, especially during the first 60 minutes. You're seeing nothing being done. And again, did we only use 2 subs today for a team that is incredibly tired and that our players are burnt out? Is that right? Am I right in saying that? We only did 2, maybe 3. And
I think so.
I don't know. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. We had some attacking players that didn't make it on the field. You didn't see Mota until the game's already out of hand, when he's a very good attacking player. It's not amazing, but he's good. And I mean, right, before we had Messi, Alba, Busquets, there was a reason we were last in the league. We did not have the quality of other teams or the execution. And that is why they've quote unquote gambled in saving their money or saving their roster spots, and instead put it in these big 3. And when you do that, and 2 of the big 3 are out, you see obviously that, but we have 3 other DPs, young DPs, that are very talented and are supposed to. We have other players who, like we said, a Robert Taylor, Joseph Martinez, who are, supposed to be of this caliber. And overall, I think that they made the decision, and I really do believe this, about maybe after the Toronto game, that, the season's a wash. And I just think it's unfortunate how they handled it, but maybe it's given them good insight on who's going to stay and who's going to go, and who has the ability to step up and have composure and who doesn't.
Yeah, no, of course. And I'm not saying that this team is competitive in the sense of, this is the team we have. This is what this is the future. This is what this team is great as is for next season as well. No, I think that on paper, we should be more competitive than we're showing, is what I'm saying. And I do think that there are going to be changes moving forward for next season. There's going to be changes in the defense. There's going to be changes in the midfield. And I think we need help literally in each part of the field, also in the offense, because while I like Campana, I think if there's somebody that's better than Campana, we definitely need to bring them on. I just think that we should have been more competitive with what we have now than what we're showing.
I also see a couple comments about we don't need Luka Modric. Luka Modric.
I'll take Luka Modric any day.
I'll take Luka Modric as our if we can get it where it's Luka Modric, Busquets, and maybe Arroyo, let's just say, and then our front 3 are Messi, Campana, Farias. Yeah, sign me up for that one. But
I want to see the playoff picture.
I know, but he's still the quality. I'll take him and his quality over 31-year-olds or 28-year-olds who can't make the right pass. Okay, fine, no Magic. Fine, people are not Magic saying. He won Champions League like a year and a half ago. He's still cooking. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. It will be interesting. It'll be an interesting offseason, right? Because what this has shown, and what they obviously know, is that they need to build players who can play with and without Messi. We've seen most players how I can play with Messi in terms of he will make me better. He will make me look great. He will put me in positions to succeed. But you need players who can play with him well, without him well enough, right? That's kind of like the drop off we're seeing. We don't expect you to be up here without Messi. Like, understand that there is a drop off. Like the greatness he possesses, the fact that you're the greatest to ever play, it means you're going to make everyone better by a lot. But we're going from here to here. We need to be going from here to maybe, let's say, here, and understanding there's a drop off both tactically and through rotations, being able to continue to perform at a good level.
Yeah,
no
I
one is
100% agree
people
with
to
you.
make up for Messi.
Yeah,
But
Messi's
the
irreplaceable.
drop off right now is crazy.
Yeah, no, you're never going to replace Messi. Nor do we expect that. Do we think it can happen? But to your point, the difference shouldn't be that big with Messi off the field. Like you shouldn't struggle to score that much without Messi on the field. The on-field product shouldn't look so bad without Messi on the field. And I think that that's going to be, as the front office looks towards next season, I think that that's what's going to be top of mind for them, is knowing that Messi is probably not going to play every game next season, and seeing based off, because I mean, in the short span of time, we've seen that, I think that this kind of proved it to everybody. Messi's not going to play every game. So moving forward,
and America
in the
will be
offseason,
the priority next year.
And I think the priority of this offseason is going to be bringing in quality players to still be able to field a competitive team, those games that Messi and Alba, possibly Busquets, we've seen that Busquets seems to be someone that's more, I think, he's someone that's been able to stay on the field longer or more consistently. But those games that where Messi and Alba are going to play, we need to field a competitive team. And I think that that's what they're going to do, is bring in quality players. So I think that this team is going to look a bit different for next season.
You made Chicago Fire offensively look like prime Barcelona. Like this is the lowest scoring team in the MLS by a wide margin. Here's a good analogy too that I think that Inter Miami needs to do, and hopefully the game plan is going to be. And that's an American baseball reference, but maybe people will know there's a movie and a book called Moneyball. It's with Brad Pitt. I recommend it to people, even if you're not American. It's a really great movie. The point of it is that instead of just getting some stars, only stars, and having a really like high payroll where it was a couple great stars and else kind of the bottom, he basically went and created a team with a couple great players, but then the rest of them were just good enough to get on base. And this is obviously the analogy, but just good enough where his goal was, okay, which players give us the highest on base percentage? Let's add them all up, and that's how we're going to win, or that's how we're going to score more than the other team. And that was his tactics, and it was called Moneyball because it was based on analytics, and it was based on saying, okay, maybe not the biggest and brightest, but enough. What we have done so far, or what the game plan seemed to have been for this season, was the opposite, where we are just getting our couple 3 or 4 shining stars and then have a huge drop off and hope our shining stars get enough home runs that we win. And it worked in the beginning, but this goes to show that it's not sustainable, especially when we said, Messi is not going to play every game next season, and Copa America is 1000% going to be the priority. And so you will see, especially before and after Copa America, his lack of playing for Inter Miami, even if he's quote unquote healthy. And I mean, it's understandable. That's what their priority is. And so what, Inter Miami needs to do is they need to get enough players who maybe don't knock your socks off every game, but are good enough to not concede goals, play the positions they're supposed to, and create enough goal scoring opportunities. Because right now we're not doing either of those things. We're not defending goals, right? We're letting a lot of goals go by, and we're not setting up goal scoring opportunities. You need both of those things at this kind of level in order to succeed in this league. Again, doesn't need to be like this. Doesn't need to be, we're not expecting every single to be the biggest and brightest where we win 5 every game, but just enough where you are positioning yourself to succeed with or without Messi.
Yeah, 100%. To your
Everyone
point
watch
before,
Moneyball and then let me know what you think. You can write to me on Twitter at AshSilvers13. Let me know if you watch it and if you like it. It's a great movie.
so right now, Ashley, as it stands for the standings, we remain in 14th place. We have 33 points. And last place, the 9th spot for the last MLS playoff wildcard spot is held by Montreal, who has 38 points. They have 2 games left. So means that they can, isn't it to 34 games?
No, that's my answer to your inevitable question.
Okay.
Can Inter Miami still make playoffs? No.
So Montreal has 2 more games left, which would be 6 points if they win both, which gets them to 44 points. The max that Miami can get to with their 3 games left is 33 plus 9 is 42. So they need Montreal to lose at least one of their games. They need New York, who also has 38 and 2 games to play, to also lose one. This is assuming that Miami wins out. They need DC United, who has 37 points and 1 game left. That doesn't matter because they get to 40 if Inter Miami wins out. So basically, right now, Inter Miami mathematically still has an opportunity to make the playoffs. They're dependent on Montreal losing at least one of their last 2, as well as New York City losing at least one of their last 2. The tough part is, obviously, we've seen how they've been playing. They're playing against Cincinnati next game, which Cincinnati is the first place team in the East. So, man,
But don't worry, Messi's back. He's coming back next game. Haven't you heard?
I don't have any confidence right now that Messi is playing ever again. Like I don't have any confidence. Obviously, I know. I have zero.
Last 3 weeks, what have we all said? Don't worry, no. Messi's coming back the next game.
No, we'll get a video of him. We'll get a video of him training for 5 minutes that will bring speculation up again, and then we won't see him. But so that's basically where Miami's playoff push stands. Not to mention, 12 players were called by their international teams that will most likely be unavailable for the Miami-Charlotte game on Wednesday, October 18th. So while mathematically there's an opportunity, realistically, it looks almost impossible. Almost impossible. So
and you're not going to want to risk injury at this point.
No, yeah, that's the point. That was the point that I was getting to, is if there were any doubts if Messi was going to play before, I think this should settle all doubts. With it being nearly impossible to make the playoffs, realistically looking at it, I don't think Messi they're not going to risk Messi at all. But at the same time, is Messi going to risk himself playing for Argentina after missing all of these games?
Yes.
You think so?
And Argentina is the number 1 priority, and it will continue to be so. And I think at this point, with all that Messi's given to the game, it's not really a surprise, and you can't exactly blame him. He's finally getting the international trophies, and I think it's the priority. I wouldn't be. I think he'll be playing for Argentina.
But actually, that points back to all the confusing information that Inter Miami releases, because which I think that leads to all of this frustration with fans and people that want to see Messi, because it's frustrating because not only do we have all of this stuff surrounding the injury, is it an injury? It's not an injury. He felt this. He didn't feel this. Oh, it's just fatigue. Oh, it's not fatigue. He actually has scar tissue, and there's never a straight answer. And now this week we hear from Tata Martino that Messi, that a player going to an international team for World Cup qualifiers first depends on how he is with his club. And if he's doing well at his club, then he's going to go play for his country. If he's not doing well at the club, meaning he's injured, then there is no discussion about Messi going to play for Argentina. Tata literally said that. When
are you going to believe what Tata has said about Messi?
I don't believe. I don't believe anything. I'm just saying that is what's frustrating, is the information that is given out is never consistent, and it sounds like I don't know what to believe anymore. Again, Tata said basically that Messi going to Argentina is not for discussion. It's not going to happen, is what he insinuated. So if he goes to play, man, like that, what do you believe anymore? Which at this point, we already are at that point, I think, but it's going to further make things look even worse. And look, we put out a not a questionnaire, a poll. We put out a poll on our Twitter this last week, or this week actually, a couple of days ago, because we wanted to see how everybody would feel. And the question posed was, if Messi misses the next two games, meaning today and the game against Cincinnati, and obviously taking into consideration these past games that he's missed, but he still proceeds to go play for Argentina while missing all of these games that were very important from Inter Miami in the playoff push, would that bother you? That was the question that was polled. And over 50% of those who were polled, we had a lot of people that answered. Over 50% said it would bother them. I fall into that category. It would bother me. It would bother me very much. And I know a lot of people are going to comment on this, but it bothers me that you would say that we would hear all about how you're fatigued, you're injured, I don't know what else, you stubbed your toe, you sneezed too hard and your throat hurts. I don't know what, but all of this during a pivotal time for Inter Miami where they need him. And to a point that you made a great point, Ashley, where this is only the third and fourth game of a long qualifier where Argentina does not necessarily need him to win. And for him to show up and play, that would bother me. That would bother me. What do you feel?
I'll say a good thing that's happened with all the complete mishandling of the news of Messi and his injury from the club and from MLS. There was a great atmosphere at Soldier Field tonight, and shout out to the people of Chicago for showing up, even though it was pretty clear Messi wasn't going to be there or play. It was a great atmosphere, and I hope it continues because that has improved the game a lot. And the one thing, good thing about Messi is that he's brought such great atmosphere to a lot of these stadiums, and I hope it continues. You can. I think at this point in his career, Argentina is the clear priority by miles and miles and miles. And while it will bother me, like in my heart, because we've been putting a lot of money and time and energy and love to him and this team, he's gonna go and he's gonna play, and it's gonna reflect poorly on him. But it really, most of the blame should really be on the club and on MLS. And
Ashley, I think you froze.
I froze? Really? I think I'm good. Okay. No, okay. I'm gonna keep talking. So I think it's gonna more so be that Inter Miami needs to make big, or the MLS is going to have to make really big changes as they lost a lot of trust in hundreds of thousands of fans who have, across the country and in Miami paid good money in. Oh, okay. So I think we lost Gian. We didn't lose me. Okay. So I'll keep talking. Have paid their hard-earned money to go see Messi, or have paid for these subscriptions. And while it is not his job to just play and he shouldn't play, the communication and lack thereof from both the club and the league is going to just paint a really, really bad light. And you're going to see next season, I think, that there's going to have to be a lot of changes, because if not, it's going to be a problem. But look, to kind of sum this all up, there's been huge changes that happened for Inter Miami and for MLS over the last couple of months. And what Messi has brought to our team, to our city, and to the league already immeasurable. And it's been fantastic. And it's going to continue to be fantastic. But there's growing pains with it. And what we've seen from the tactics, from the personnel, and from the kind of decline of this team, is that they're going to have to play around with a couple of things in order to find that formula where when Messi is on the pitch, you get this high level of performance, but when he's off the pitch, it doesn't fly as low. They're going to have to work on figuring that out in terms of their personnel. And I think they will work towards it because we got Messi, we got Busquets, we got Alba, and that shows that we are clearly head and shoulders above a lot of other teams and will continue to grow. And as MLS, as for MLS, they're going to have to figure it out too. But we have a game on Saturday against FC Cincinnati. We're going to have to wait and see in terms of how the others, the other results shake out across the league in the Eastern Conference. We'll see who's on the injury report. Maybe we'll see Messi come back. Who knows? But thank you all so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Even though it's been a tough stretch, the future is bright. And we're excited to see you. So thanks so much and have a really good day.
If you are ready to transform your backyard into a haven of relaxation and luxury, look no further than our amazing podcast sponsor, L'Acqua Azzurra Pool Services. With over 20 years of industry experience, L'Acqua Azzurra is a name you can trust when it comes to services, equipment repairs, and restoration for all things pools. If you're looking in the South Florida area for your pool to be serviced on a month-to-month basis, L'Acqua Azzurra boasts an impressive 5-star rating on Google reviews, and it's a testament to their dedication to customer satisfaction and top-notch service. Also, if you mention Messi & Co., you will get your first month of pool service absolutely free. So don't wait. For pool service, patio renovation, or more, call them now at 954-793-7206 and get a free quote for any project. Thanks, L'Acqua Azzurra.